Hey, it's Stu from Barefoot Paws. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoy the video. We're going to get stuck straight into the levels obstacle course. So Freon Xeon, who you'll see, he's going to be the only one who's doing it for the first time. So everyone else has got some repetitions on it before. And in particular, I really want you to have a look at how well Winnie does compared to last week. And also we have a pretty cool event with young Blackberry. Excuse me, I've got people playing with my camera. Here we go with codes. We've got her up on the table. We're going to see how we go across. Here we go. I remember in our last video, she couldn't quite do that. Now I'm just changing things up here and adding in a little wrinkle because eventually I want to be able to direct them over either the horizontal ladder or the sway bridge. But to get to one from the other, if I've sent them up the side that is opposite the bridge I want them to go on, and we're chaining a few things together, there's a small section of copper log that I want them to be able to balance over, and it's pretty difficult. There you go. So it's just it's about 2.5 foot. Get them onto the platform at the beginning of the horizontal ladder. And you can see I'm starting to remove myself, just giving some distance, making sure there's a steady platform, getting Coda to wait. She's thinking a lot. She's stoked about what she's doing. You can tell by the tail. Jump through the hoop. And again, I'm trying to fade myself out of the situation. She already knows what's to come, so I can basically just attach commands to the step that's coming next. Where she's unsure, like now, no need to get frustrated with this stuff, guys. Our students are trying to find the right solution, but they're learning, so they might not find it the first go. There's no need to get frustrated. There's no need to get pumped. Just simply repeat, find where you believe the error to originate from, and work on it from there. So Coda doesn't want to make the mistake. She needs a little bit more support, so we'll give that to her. Confidence will allow you to detach further and further from immediate presence later on. I like to have those tails up. That's a standard for the IRO tests. Good work. Oops, kind of put her on the pedestal wrong, but she'll be all right. That's a good run through. We've got Freon Xeon up next, and he's going to destroy the little obstacle course in a second. I thought he was going to be able to give us some lively agile tank movements. Instead, he just gave us some crushing tank moves here. So he's doing really good. I'm really happy with where he's at for a very soft boy, socially quite sensitive, like a lot of these dudes. You can see what's going to happen now. He's a bit hesitant with Buzz in the way. He's a bit hesitant because, boom, there's this great big pole in the way. So he's just broken the castle. But he's managed to get over the sway bridge, no problems at all. So it took a bit long for him. He's a little bit confused. There's loads of other students that are kind of getting in the way. This is one of the things where you see the confidence in your students develop, is when they start to push for what they know is theirs. So my daughter plays netball, which is like an old school version of basketball, right? And the thing that I'm always telling her is when the ball is in the air, it's yours to take. And I take the same creed with the students as well. Like, this lure that I've got here for you, it's yours to take. Not anybody else's, but it's yours. Just come and take the lure. And that allows us to get past these high levels here. Like, yes, it's a bit scary, but you know what? I'm going to take you down. Everything's cool. I'm going to place you down on the pedestal. You're going to get your lure. You're going to get your reinforcer. You're going to feel stoked about it. But you might have to push through some fear to be able to get there. And Xeon's done an awesome job. I'm really happy with how he's progressing, hey? We've got the silly Sid. So he's with me on some learnery stuff as well, and he's doing really well on that. And as a consequence, I'm able to push him a little bit more because, well, basically we've got a longer reinforcement history, and that's important for any student. So whether, like this guy, he just won't come back when he's at the beach. He's got to go and say hi to people. But because we spend so much time in a transactional as well as relational relationship, a personal relationship, we can move past these sorts of things, whereas before he would have just wigged out when he fell off. He wouldn't have gone across the copper log. Going through the hoop, he overshoots it, but there's no punishment for it. There's no rousing on him. There's no corrections. There's no need for any of that sort of stuff. We're building and we're developing. We're not refining. We're not building bad habits that we need to take away later. So he still needs a little bit of support. He still wants me close. I'm not worried about that. He's letting me handle him. Good work. No struggling on the way down. He's quite stout like that. He's a play-by-braille kind of guy, so he's used to that physical contact, and that helps us out for manual handling. It's great. All right, here comes Buzzy Bee. Again, he's one of the most sensitive guys that I've got in class. So my job here really is not to look for the successful execution of the entire levels course. What I actually want from this guy is to be able to push in when others are crowding around, because the longer he takes, the more frustrated the class gets. He kind of feeds on that, and that makes him a little bit nervous. But fortunately, what happens is, as he balks less, it reduces the frustration for the rest of the class. If the rest of the class isn't feeling frustrated, he feels less nervous. If he's feeling less nervous, things go faster, less students feel frustrated. So you can see how this is a beautiful catch-22 situation. And he is not going to intellectually realize this. He is going to get used to this. It's a very different sort of like learning theory, right? Now, I know that he loves the sway bridge. He'll jump up on this when other students are up there and not. So I will bridge the gap, pardon the pun, between what he can and can't do, if that means that I can get him to be successful. There's no dramas in breaking this entire chain up into its individual components. It's just the same as teaching a walk. It's just the same as teaching a sit or any other chain of events like go find this odor. Break it up into individual components. You can piece them together in a beautiful chain later on. So to make it easier for Buzzy Bee, I'm going to reduce that hoop. And even if he balks, I'm still going to give him some sort of motivation. I can't get to him with my hands so easily because he's already in that apprehensive mindset. In his head, what he's potentially thinking is, oh, you're going to come and make me do it. So what I might just do then is I'll throw some food at him. He's going to make a half-hearted effort to catch that food, but he'll be able to go and get it. And he feels like, oh, maybe I will get something from you. And that allows me to present the law just like here, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Where is he? He's exactly where I want him for the next steps. And through this, I can show him, look, I'm going to keep the other guys away from your law, but if you want it, it's here for you to take it. I'm not going to give it to you. So notice his tail, lots and lots of concentration, quite nervous. Look at Laser Hazel, for example. She's pretty stoked. She's been off for a little while. She's just come back. So she's like, wow, man, what do I need to do? Good stuff. See how he's got his paws like rooted into the ground? He's super hesitant about coming through. See that? These are things to really look out for. Like, I would not progress to the next thing until that anchoring is done. But I'm stoked. Scooby-Choo. Now, the copper log should be pretty easy for this guy because, well, he's quite small, so his center of balance is quite low. Let's see what he does. Ooh, not so sure, Stu. So I'll put some food down for him to see. If he wants it, he can come and take it. Maybe if I jump down, oh no. So don't worry about these little mistakes that your student is guaranteed to make. They're experimenting. And what I want to have in a student is a student who is happy to experiment by trying out different keys to unlock the door. Bang. It took him, what, 2 repetitions? That's part of the fun, guys. Like, how long does it take for your student to learn that this is the right key to unlock that door? That's the whole part and parcel of training, specifically by giving our dogs independent function. Sweet. Give them independent function, but that means they also have to learn by their mistakes. And learning that mistakes happen, nothing bad comes along with that. So again, you can see he's predicting the chain, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to add the commands just before he goes and does the next behavior. Sweet as. And through that, he's then getting used to, I do this and you say that. I do this and you say that. Eventually, I say this, you do that. All right, so it's great to have Laser Hazel back. She's been off for a little while. And we're going to see how she goes. She likes to do everything fast. So she's looking for that lure. She's an absolute crocodile when it comes to taking food out of your hand. Don't let her cuteness surprise you when she comes in with those massive teeth. But because she has so much enthusiasm, I'm going to allow her to push more. Because I know that she's got what it takes. It's just a matter of unlocking that. She's bursting with enthusiasm. Hey presto, a little bit of hesitation. She's stoked. Nice big tail wags. Nice forward motion. I'm pulling her over the horizontal bridge with spatial pressure. So I'm moving ahead. And that gets her then to go over the bridge. So again, just like Sid, she overshoots. No dramas. We'll just bring her back and make her do it in the right sequence. And now she's like, oh, well, you made me stop last time. Maybe I need to stop now. And I'll kind of put the brakes on her a little bit as well. Because she's so fast at reacting, I need her to think a little bit more, give her a bit of a clearer headspace to be able to piece the individual links in the chain together. Now with some of the dogs like her, you'll notice that the tail is tucked. And that's just because she's nervous and I'm going to concentrate on one thing at a time, right? And just then she struggled a little bit putting it down. No dramas. If she's super struggly, then I'm just going to stand up, hold them nice and tight to make sure that the wriggles stop. Only when you're calm will I put you down. Now here's her sister in crime, the big Winnie bear. Again, you've got it. Sometimes it is really difficult to remember that these big dogs are so young. Right. She's what, 5-6 months old, super young, but massive body. So you got to be careful with those long bones. Because those bones are very long, there's more strain, there's more force being put onto those joints than, for example, Laser Hazel's legs, which are much shorter. Like the amount of force that is generated is much less. So with Winnie, her last session, we could not get over this horizontal ladder. I had to actually literally take her off, like pick her up, take her to the other end. And this time around, I'm like, well, we've done it once. We're going to do it this time. I can feel that she's able to do it. I can see her enthusiasm is going to leak over and give her enough effort to be able to execute. I can see that there's a bridge being built between the enthusiasm and the execution. So I'm going to allow that to continue to build. I'm going to allow that bridge to span from enthusiasm to execution. And I know that the effort will come. Now what I want you to notice here is, like, the horizontal ladder, how many dogs are up there with Winnie? How many dogs can get up there? There's quite a few dogs that can get up there without an issue. None of them are going up there with Winnie. Why is that? Because Winnie's actually socially not sensitive. She's socially competitive. That's on the other end of the spectrum. And even at this very tender age, you can already see that this girl ranks herself quite highly. This is not a learnt thing. This is a personality thing. She's the type of girl who will be on the table at parties getting the whole party going. Right? She is not the type of girl who's going to be like in the shadows against the wall waiting for something to happen that she can then watch. She's the party girl, right? These are not things that you are going to change. This is hardwired in a personality. But again, we can leverage those sorts of things. And it allows me to take a few extra liberties. Like I can pick a paws up, I can put a paws forward just to help her understand how to execute. Because she's so big, it's just like kids that shoot up really, really big and they turn into these gangly spaghetti things. It's no different with the puppies, right? She's really young. She's grown up really quick and she doesn't have the proprioception. She doesn't have the body awareness to understand where to put her back, her front paws. So we just help her out and we help her brain wire things a little bit more easy. That builds a lot of confidence. It also helps build some motor patterns And you can see now that she's starting to do it on her own. If we would have just left her to her own devices and captured and free shaped and done all of these funky little things, it would have taken a month of Sundays to get it done. Sometimes it's just easier to hold your student's hand and guide them through the situation. Save a lot of time, save a lot of heartache, get the same end result over the long term. Look at her. Look at her go. She couldn't do this last week. This is only her second session. I'm so pumped for her. See that tail's going everywhere, keeping balance, super stoked. It's going high, it's going low. You can see there's apprehension, concentration, there's loads of things, there's excitement. At any time she could get off, at any time she could balk. Yeah, good for you, Winnie. That's it, we're done. I'm not even going to worry about anything else. Good work. I've got high hopes for the Dopened. He's quite a gun. So let's see what he does. He's got really good body awareness. Now, he's also the type of guy he's not socially sensitive per se, but he is a little bit socially awkward. Like, he will growl, he will snap if you're not careful, if you're not managing the yard. It's quite overwhelming for him. When he first came in, he was a little bit like this, but his owner was also a bit apprehensive, like, oh, I don't know how he's going to go with you, like, see how things are. And then on the first day, we had this sort of stuff. The Dopened is just playing with me. He's like, is this it? No, I want more. I need it harder. I need it longer. I need it faster. So, all right, let's set up a challenge. Let's get some of these guys out of the way. So you've got a clear run. Bang. Let's see. Will you go through? Oh, balked it. No problems. This way, buddy. Nah, I can do it quicker this way. Yeah, but I want you to go there. So in the end, we decided that the jump was a little bit too much for him. We'll work on that later. That's not a problem. But right now, when the jump is too much, I know that the rest of this is going to be too fast. So I'll stop him. So you can see there, it's just a hand signal. I want him to go, stop, and then he's only going when I release him from that. This allows him, again, keep a clear headspace, job done. So just a side note, this guy is actually really flourishing because Muddy Buddy, who was not there this week, he and Muddy Buddy have formed this really cool friendship. They're about the same size, they're quite similar in personalities. And since the Dopened has made this particular buddy, this friend, a lot of his social awkwardness has dissipated, just like blowing out the fire on the end of a matchstick. It's just been snuffed out, which is really, really cool. Here we go with the Blackberry. Now, she is just going from strength to strength from one week to the next. Huge amount of enthusiasm. Like, she's really blossoming into a beautiful Cocker Spaniel. Like, we couldn't do this stuff like a couple of weeks ago. Being around the other dogs was overwhelming for her. She didn't know how to deal with it. And now, like, look at her now and compare this to an older dog like, for example, Buzz, who's socially pretty sensitive. But that's his personality compared to Blackberry here, who she will use her Cocker Spanielness to push past an obstacle, right? Sweet. So let's capitalize on that. Let's see how we go. Now, there's going to be quite the event with Blackberry. Watch what happens here. Got my arm. Whoop! That's why we have the arm out, people. Don't allow your students, particularly in those early phases, don't allow your students to fall onto the ground from this height. It's not that high, but it's a long way to fall. And if we can then, when we then catch our students, nothing bad is going to happen from that. That is something that builds faith in you. It builds trust in your relationship.
I am about to put some of our students in for lunch, and I thought it'd be beneficial for you to see what happens when we have a bunch of dogs that are all hanging out together, and we have some that need some extra special attention. So the way that we feed our students, not all of them need to be fed, but puppies are around a certain age, they tend to do well with lunch. So we're going to give them lunch. Now we're going to have one in a crate right next to me. We're going to have one on a bed right next to me. And then we're going to have one further out here, also in a crate. And I'm going to show you exactly how we put them into the crate, how we present the food, and how I let them basically get some enrichment with their meal as well.
Sailor, you're up, sweetie. You ready? Sailor's already crate trained, so it doesn't take much. You ready?
Yeah. But I'm not going to give it to her in a bowl. I'm going to sprinkle it around so she can have some enrichment. She can play hide and seek with it. I wanted to spend a little bit of time enjoying her meal, enjoying the effort that goes into eating that meal. Berry. The little black puppy leaving little black footprints everywhere. Ready? So we've just got a towel here. I've got her meal that I'm putting out. Cockers like to use their nose. We'll let her use her nose. So Winnie, she's at an age where she's really big, she's really fast, but she's also very young. So I'm just covering up the crate so that she can spend more time looking at the food and have more isolation from the others. So the purpose of having lunch is obviously to fill their bellies and make sure that they're calorie rich and that they can continue to build their bodies and their brains. But I don't want to give our dogs a meal out of a bowl. I don't want them prison eating. I don't want them feeling like they have to protect that food. And in a larger population like this, that's something that can happen, and we really don't want that. So instead I'm going to make the food enriching. I'm not giving it to them out of a bowl. In Winnie's case, it's darker. She's going to have to use a nose for it. And with little Berry, she's using a nose all the time anyway. I may as well put it to good use. And you could use a snuffle mat just as easily. You could roll up some towels and just put the food into the rolled up towels. And then with little Sailor, it's really about just slowing her down. So spreading that food out means she can't wolf the food down. You right, guys? And if she can't wolf the food down, we're not really going to get bloat, and she's not able to use the food in a manner that further heightens her excitement. Rather, she's got to use her eyes and her nose, and that's going to help her concentrate more, and concentration leads to a reduction in excitement.